Well, good evening, this is Hound Dog Steve, and here are some interesting figures that will show you that the economy in China has really largely stayed absolutely dormant through all of this terrible outbreak that's happening there. And so there is going to be a significant impact on the goods that we see coming on the shores of North America and Canada and around the world. And also, what I was thinking about is all of these companies, who, rely on various small parts and so on and so forth from China. A lot of their money is tied up in debt and investment. How long can these companies hang on for? I mean, we're now into basically week 3 of this serious shutdown. I understand that the last ship will be leaving China on March the 6th, and we will not be getting any significant shipments out of China for quite a number of months. And of course, when these sort of things start shutting down, it takes quite a bit to get them back up and running. So here is a letter from Zero Hedge, or an article, from Zero Hedge. China claims 95% of SOEs, that's state-owned enterprises, have restarted production. There's just one problem. They haven't. According to Ren Hongbin, China's Vice Director of State Asset Regulator, SASAC, more than 95% of SOEs in oil, petrochemical, communication, power grid and transportation services have restarted production despite the CV outbreak, with the most severe impact in civil aviation and tourism sectors. Ren assured the world that the impact of the outbreak was temporary and that China will maintain its operational targets for state-owned enterprises. There's just one problem with all of this. Real unmanipulated data exposes it's a total lie. And so here we go. If 95% of SOEs are back in business, how are people getting to work if there's no congestion? And you look at the purple line here for 2020, and you can see that there is really no activity going on at all. If 95% of SOEs are back in business, how are people getting to work since they're not using the trains? And this is daily trips, and you can see they've just fallen down to a bare minimum. If 95% of SOEs are back in business, how are they powering their plants because they're not using coal? And here we are at absolute rock bottom coal usage. And finally, if 95% of SOEs are back in business, how are they doing that without producing any polluting emissions? And you can see the absolutely massive pollution has fallen down to an absolute bare minimum. A miracle the Chinese economy is back, but using no power and producing no pollution. So either Greta will be jubilant at China's newfound emissions efficiency, or it's just another massive lie by the CCP, desperate to maintain the illusion that everything's under control. Oh, and if that's not enough for you to see straight through China's lies, remember that 760 million Chinese, about half the population, remain on lockdown. And so, as I say, this is going to impact our lives probably for months, if not years to come, as we get this whole thing straightened out and back to running. Well, I don't think it will ever go back to running as normal. That's my prediction. What an unbelievable year this is going to be. Okay, well, thank you very much for listening, and we'll talk very, very shortly. See you now. Bye.